Hey, apologies, network interrupted, but we are back again and we'll be joined shortly with our guest speaker, Oluwatobi Raji, who was sharing with us her stories and how she transformed her experience with sexual gender-based violence into a source of strength and personal growth. Okay, she's back now. We let me send. Hold on, let's try again. I think it's network. Okay, so please hold on. Our guest will join shortly. Okay, good. So
Yeah,
sorry
I'm
about
back.
that. That was network. Yes, welcome back. Okay, so before for those that are just joining in, Oluwatobi here was sharing her experience, her personal experience with sexual gender-based violence, and how she was able to overcome it through intentionality, through the awareness of her rights, and of course the strong support system that she had. Um, very quickly now, we are going to go on to discuss the importance of educating children and communities about sexual violence. I mean, how can these children recognize the signs and the signal for help? And of course, as you're providing answers to these questions, there are some children that can't even talk. I mean, we have people that are pedophiles and rape children of few months old babies, literally babies. I mean, who speaks up for them? I mean, how do the guardians or people around them know that such a thing is going on and they're supposed to like speak up for this child?
Thank you very much. Okay, so if we are talking about importance of educating children and communities about sexual violence, most times pedophiles look have their own criteria. They have criteria they look out for in their victims. Pedophiles. One, in every family, when a child clicks so much to a particular individual, I am not saying that it is a bad thing to have a favorite uncle or favorite aunt, but sometimes just somewhere at the back of your mind, you should be conscious. You understand? Children can be so close to a particular individual in the family or a friend in the school, a teacher, or in the neighborhood, and you just see, BC loves um, Uncle Mark. Why? There should be a why. There should always be a why. And that's why can be either positive or negative. So there should always be a why. And because knowing that why, we we help your subconscious mind in your whatever um, findings or investigations. So in homes, in every homes, there should be charts, educating charts. There are charts that talks about um, sex education. We have them in bookshops. There are charts that talks about negative effects of child labors. So there are charts, even with pictorial um, teachings that describes this is bad, this is wrong, this is good. So as parents, guardians, we can get these charts and we can begin to educate our children. If even in a rural community or an indigent community where you have no access to this chart, you can create a flashcard yourself. It can be in letters to talk about sex education. There was a time in my church, in my local assembly, my pastor tends to know what I do, children, how I educate children, community awareness. So she informed the church I'll be coming on board to speak with the parents and the children in in at a go. So what I did was I made my communication very simple, and I talked about um, simple greetings. I talked about um, handshakes, different kind of handshakes. I talked about when children need to be sensitive, when the handshake is extending beyond their palms. Yes. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, I can hear you. I'm sure
So,
our participants can hear you too. Yeah.
so I started with the children department, and I brought two children out, a male and a female, and I gave a practical example of when you are greeting or when you are being greeted, shake me. When the hand is going beyond, your palm, don't permit the greeting. You know, we have some perpetrators, even as an adult, we have people who do this, who give, there are signs, there are sexual signs. They'll come, this is my palm, and they start tickling. I don't know if anyone has done that to you before. Yes. It's a sexual sign. Yes. My uncle started with that. I thought it was just um, a friendly a friendly thing. So they come with the center of your palm, and they tickle that. Is a sexual uh, sign. Yes. Anyone that do that, if you're doing that, either ignorantly, it is a sexual sign. I am saying it now. So, and you see, so I told the children, and some of them started speaking up. Oh, there's somebody in their class, most especially the teenagers, that comes to class and do that to them, and I said it is wrong. So when it is assumed, so when a pedophile does that, and you don't talk or you don't resist, it's assumed you love that, you love it, and you want it. It's an assumption.
That assumption is what I think we will call under law a rebuttable assumption or presumption.
Exactly.
So I'm sorry to
Because
cut you. Why I
because
say that is
yeah,
because children cannot give consent. So, for instance, you said your uncle started out with that, but you didn't know that such is a sign of any sexual,
until he
abuse.
perpetrated the
Yes,
act.
exactly.
So so all these signs are always there. All these signs are always there. And then we also educate parents, especially a female child has no business sitting on.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hello, Toby. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I think I
Putting
lost you.
a female child on the lap of a male right. It is, see, people's it is not every adult that can control their body urge.
Mm,
As much as we want to say it is, we should control, we should have a self-control. These things, these signs are always there. If you see an adult who desires always to put a female, a child, on his laps, in between his legs, I have corrected a lot of women in the public bus. You know, perhaps they do not have enough money for transport, and brother, please help me lap. Innocently, there are some men who do not have such intention. But in a society where we have pedophiles all around the place, it is not just advisable.
mm,
It is not advisable. And then going to Going to communities where they don't have access to social media, they don't have access to print media, there could be a seminar or a stakeholder meeting with community gatekeepers. Who are the community gatekeepers? The community leaders,
True.
community leaders, youth leaders, women groups. There should be uh, seminars, workshops for this category of people who do not have access to print media or social media. Just for example, in 2020, I and my team, we had a community awareness program, and I tagged it Rural Rugged Campaign. Rural Rugged Campaign, and it took place in 7 states using their indigenous languages to disseminate the message of preventive measures to child sexual abuse. And we had a lot of reviews during this period, and using the indigenous language helped a lot. It is not everyone that understands this English we are speaking. It's not every community. Even if you go to some community, they speak their indigenous language there. So we made use of volunteers who came on board as advocates, and then they go into these rural communities to speak about this menace that is affecting everyone using the community's indigenous language, and it was really, really great. You understand? And also in every family, in every family, we should have we should have one family, one member representative in a family that would have a knowledge of child safety.
Mm.
You understand? So there should be, in fact, once you're getting married, before you start bearing children,
Mm.
I think there should be a course for every couple on child management, on preventive measures, child safety. We all need it. Now people think it is only advocates that should talk about these things. But even in homes, parents, we are all advocates. When you see something, you say something. And preventive measures, I think is better than waiting for the for the for the for the thing to happen and then you want to start talking about it. Let's start talking about it even before it happens. Let us prevent it. Let us not shy away from the truth that most of this abuse happens within the close, you know, family group before extending
Mm.
to the external factors. As an administrator, as a school coordinator, you know, we made a rule. We have 2 toilets in the school, and that's why we have a separate caregiver for the children, a separate caregiver that look into the well-being of the children. So once a child is going to the toilet, male or female, the guardian goes along, go along with them. Just stay at a distance. So 2 children would not be in the toilet at the same time, either male or
Mm.
female, because some of these children bring so many attitude from their homes.
Yes, true.
You understand? So as a school, you also have a lot of work to do. So I know when children come in with a different habit, you look out for holiday time, that's during holiday period, when they are resuming with new habits.
Hmm.
You,
Interesting.
you, you know, when you're working with children, you would know they will come in with different habits. So you know that this child did not exhibit these habits last time. So why now? So then we call the attention of the parents. Please, you need to be vigilant. So we also work in line with the parents. We are stakeholders. We work together. So we call the parents' attention. Your child is exhibiting this in school. Please watch out for this habit at home.
Mm.
Okay, we once had a child, enrolled with us, and it was just 3 years. And on the third day of his resumption, 3 years old, 3 years is a boy. He looked into his uh, his teacher's face and said, "I okay, I'm going to be as raw as I don't know if you understand Yoruba." And he said, "Auntie, gbedi ewa ki fokosi." Meaning, Auntie, bring your bomb, let me insert my penis. Yes.
What?
Three
A
years
3-year old.
3 years old. 3 years. I mean 3 years. So now environmental factor. So we need to look at the environmental factor. We invited the mother and she was like, she was not even sober. She was just like she it seems funny to her, like it seems like a joke. She was just surprised, yes. She said, maybe he heard it from our customers. I said, okay, your customers. She's into this gin, this alcohol substance, this paraga, now all these paraga things. And so immediately I understood the environment the child was coming from. Even though I knew from the point of admission, and the mother is late now, may God rest her soul. And this is just one out of the 150 children we care for at school on the street of Sheti. You understand? And
Interest.
this is just a 3-year-old boy, a 3 years old.
Mm.
Then
You know, I think so. I would like us to know more about how after reporting to the parents, how you went about, trying to, I will not say
okay,
the child, like inciting, a behavioral and attitudinal change in the mind of this child.
okay, so
Because even though
yeah,
yes,
okay. So what I did was first I apologized to the teacher because it was strange to her. She wasn't familiar with um, child sexual abuse or behavioral attitude in children. She wasn't familiar. She had no prior knowledge. So she was just screaming, what kind of demonic child is this? What kind of demonic child is this? The demonic. I said, no, he's not demonic. The child is not demonic. Don't term a child a demonic child. So I sat her down and I educated her. And it was our first year of implementing our project in the community here. And so child sexual abuse is rampant in this community, child marriage, teenage pregnancy, So it's a community that is full of all forms of abuses. So I educated her and she was calm. Then I asked her a question. We are all saying, God forbid, this child is my child. But what happens if this child is actually your child? I said, oh, my child can never. I said, okay. Well, let's assume this child is not your child. So should we withdraw this child from the school? Should we throw this child away? Then she looked at me that, ah. Then she is like, okay, we should help the child. I said, so fine. So because this child has come with this behavioral attitude, we can't throw the child away, but we can help reform this child. So I invited the child. So the child was out of class for 2 weeks. He was always resuming in my office. So I started talking to him. I invited the mother and I started speaking with the mother that she needs to take that child out of the environment where she sells alcohol substance. That child need that if she doesn't, then we will be forced to tell her that her child will stop coming to our school. That these are ways we can also help her and help the child. So she accepted. So the child no longer go to a shop after closing. The child goes home to meet his older siblings, and then I started speaking with the child, talk to him about, in a simple way we understand that this thing you are saying is bad. So I showed him pictures, I brought out a chart, I designed a 3 pages flashcards, and then the boy got interested in coming to my office, listening to me, and then I told him, apologize to your teacher that what you said was wrong, and he did so. And I can't, we didn't do something so, because then I called one of my mentor who is on the field, she's an advocate, and then to speak with the child, in a friendly way. And, we made it fun. We made the session fun for the boy, and it was fine. And he became more obedient, even in class. He became more obedient in class, he became more calm. And then even at home, the mother said, Omo, it change, meaning your child has changed. At home, he now listened to me, so we worked together. We worked together, and we told the mother, you need to avoid some sexual words, sexual songs. Even the music industry at times is not helping. On the street, you hear these songs being played. The children are singing, they are repeating the lyrics, they are dancing to it, and these things are not helping at all. So these are ways we help manage the situation.
So
And the
Toby,
teacher in charge.
yeah. So Toby, I would say you are doing a very fantastic work. I mean, with School on the Street initiative, and how you are just helping to safeguarding the rights of children. I mean, this example that you gave really portrayed your deep understanding of how sexual violence again and child abuse is carried out. I mean, you're able to know that this is coming from his environment. You're able to know that this child is coming in with new habits that was trained from the former term. It shows that you are very observant and you really care about these children, which is what everybody needs to do. Because the fact that that person or that child is not your child does not mean that you don't have that duty of care. That's the word under law. Duty of care to take care of that child, because obviously that child cannot take care of him or herself. They're innocent, so it's basically what they see, what you tell them, what you show them, that they will incorporate or imbibe knowingly or unknowingly, and they won't even know that this is harmful to them unless you begin to show them how and basically train them. There's something the Bible says, train them in the way of the Lord, and when they when they leave, they will not depart from it.
Exactly.
So, what
So
are
the thing,
the available? Yes, go on, please.
so another
No,
another shock we received this term that is about closing was one of our pupils who came to school with condom. Yes, used condom. I mean,
not
yes,
even a laughing matter.
used condom. It is not a matter. Used condom, and he brought it to the class, and you know, like blowing as a balloon. And the teacher was like, what's going on here? The teacher, the teacher ran and called me, and she wanted to. I said, no, no, you don't beat. Then I called the boy. He's a boy again in basic one, primary one. And I asked him, so I started interrogating him. I said, what is this? He said he saw it in the compound, in the house. I said, okay. So, but do you know this thing? Do you know what it is called? He said, no, there is small balloon. I said, okay. So immediately I put a call through and called the mom. So I started speaking with him that this is not a balloon. So I showed him. Of course, we have used balloon for decorations in the school before. We have had balloon games. So he said he thought it was a small, but actually, condom looks like a balloon. To a child, it is a small balloon. So I educated him that it is not a balloon. it has no business with balloon, but that it is used by adults. It is used by mommy and daddies. And then it is not even healthy for him to see it, talk less of holding it or putting it in his mouth. Because when I touched it, it still has some um, liquid. You understand what I'm talking about? It has been used. Then I called the mother and she came, she screamed, ah, a total African woman, mother, ah, yeah, yeah. I said, ah, why are you shouting? There's nothing to shout about. I said, ah, Omo Itepami, this said has killed me. So I asked her, what is this? She was like, ah, eh. I said, this is a condom. I said, please, next time be careful. Even if you have used this, dispose properly. You know, the kind of target audience here, the children we enroll at our school here are children whose mothers survived domestic violence and sexual violence, yes. So some of them are no longer with their husbands, because of domestic violence, and they have their children with them. Some of them still go around with, multiple partners. So I just advise her, please, whenever you are doing this in the home, please dispose properly so that these children would not lay hold of these things. It is not correct. So I just educated the boy that it is not right for him to see this talkless of holding, and it is not healthy for him as a child. And I said, this is not a balance. So I went back to system, a computer, and then showed him the picture of a balloon again. That this is a balloon. This is what they call it, but this one is not a balloon. So when you see your friend holding this, please report them. It is not a balloon. It is for adults. So another thing we do is we devise a means. We taught them a song in the school. If you touch my private part, I will tell. So this song is being learned by our age from we have 18 months in the school. Yes, so they know the song from 18 months. While they learn to speak, so they know the song. If you touch my private part, I will tell it to my daddy, I will tell it to my mommy. If you touch my private part, I will tell. So we also teach them, their private parts. So no one has the right to touch, to see, and you also don't have a right to touch, to see anybody's private parts. We've had funny cases or scenarios of children who come to the school with new pants, and they will just pull up their gown to their friends. Come and see my new pants. Especially the kindergarten classes. See my new pants. My mommy bought me new pants yesterday. Innocently, this child will do this outside. But a pedophile around will see it as a privilege to abuse the child. Is a privilege to them. So that is why we teach these things even from our 18 months. You don't pull up your gown in the public. You don't show your panties to anybody, no matter how new it is. Keep your new pants to yourself. We don't want to know the color of your pants. It is wrong to. So we have class rules as well. So in every class from our kindergarten class, we have class rules that guide the children. You understand? So all these things has helped us manage, despite we are in a rural community, in a low income community with less um, resource materials to preventive measures to child safety. We try as much as possible to safeguard the children under our care. And then we try as much as possible to speak to their parents at every given opportunity. And we also have this book here. It talks about Ogun State's child rights law.
Oh, that's great.
So
Yes.
it says the laws at your fingertips. So at every given opportunity we have with the parent or guardian, we bring this book out, this booklet out to them. And we also have our policy. So before you enroll your child in our school, you know, we have a policy that guides the children. and the parents. So the children dare not come to report you as a parent when it comes to, you know, uh, violating their rights. So we try as much as possible to also educate them. So because you are an in a low income community does not mean that you are above the law. In a lot of things happen in low income communities,
Yeah.
thinking that nobody sees them. We have cases of child marriage, you know,
That,
abuses and all of that. So we try as much as possible to partner with the community development area executive, we call them the CDA groups. So, at every time we have representative from the CDAs, who come. So we call them the community gatekeepers. So they come and we speak with them, you know. Among them we have a retired teacher. She's currently the woman leader in this community here. So she once worked in Lagos with the Lagos state government, and so she understands. So having us around her, it's a plus. And then time to time she call upon us to speak with the women. So we do all these, especially the women, and we also have fathers, you know, who also survive domestic violence, and their children are with us. And time at intervals, we also educate them on how to protect their children from perpetrators.
very, very important. It's very commendable. I mean, you mentioned policies, code of conduct, rules and regulations that guide both the children, the parents, the teachers, and guardians, and of course, how you also make sure that they are involved. I mean, it's not just about reporting that, oh, this is happening to your child or your child has done this, but also taking them through the ways by which they can help to prevent or reduce such occurrence, because if you know better, you do better. That's just the fact. So some people are not informed. Some people, that was the same way they were trained in their own family, especially growing up in underserved communities. So they're passing what they know. But if they know better that this is actually wrong, the fact that my child is in this environment is not even healthy for my child, then they know how they can do better by protecting that child, from such, sexual violence as well as child abuse. Thank you, Toby. That's really commendable. Now, I want us to discuss about the available resources and support systems for survivors of sexual violence and their families. So, I mean, some people are of the view that, first of all, they don't want to be stigmatized. Second, I mean, who are they going to report to that, okay, this person is abusing my child sexually, right? And some people are of the opinion that we have laws, but can it really be implemented? What really does reporting do for them? Please shed more light on this.
Okay, so I will share my experience, my work experience with DSVA. My work experience with DSVA actually gave me more insights. While growing up too, I had this mindset that no matter how you talk, no matter how you report, nothing will be done. But my work experience with domestic violence and sexual violence agency, that's formerly DSVRT, now DSVA, gave me the confidence that there is a system in place. Only if you keep quiet, there is actually.
Right.
And then my encounter with um, valuable advocates, both young and old, speaking and creating awareness and fighting for the rights of children, women, and girls, gave me that tenacity that
Yeah.
we all can make it better
Mm.
by not keeping mute. So now, when you talk about available resources, for example, DSVA now have they have a department that look into child protection, and they don't work alone. They work in partnership with the um, social welfare services, of the state um, government. In Ogun State, last year they discovered about us and what we do, and then they connected with us, and we are in speaking terms. So we have referred about 5 people there within the community here. So who had issues with even child labor, child abandonment, sexual violence. So they were referred. So, and one thing about reporting is you don't need to know I reported you.
Yes.
You don't need to know that Toby made the report or Ruama made the report. One thing I tell the community gatekeepers here and the community members here is that the next woman grinding pepper in your neighborhood can be a mandated reporter. You don't know. So you just have to be careful. You have to be vigilant and take care of your children. The person you are seeing as a pepper grinder can be a mandated reporter or an underground investigator. So when they understand that these things are in place, before we came into this community implementing this project, they don't have that knowledge that governments can actually plant investigators to get information about happenings. They just feel, well, we can do whatever we like. So I tell them, see, in your church, in that place of work where you are, even in this village, don't be surprised that there is a mandated reporter. So it is our collective effort to do the right thing. So bit by bit, people started sitting tight. I can tell you, our education project here had drastically reduced the number of out of school children, number of teenage, teenage mothers, at least to a barest minimum. Not that it still doesn't exist, it does exist, but then the fear of there is one human rights person, there is one Toby somewhere in Iyana Ilogbo, gives a sense of, let us be, even the parents of the children here, they are always careful. They say, when we call them for meeting, they say, oh, but our children have not come to report us to you. I say, no, just want to have a meeting with you. There is this consciousness
Business. Yes.
now. Yes, there is this consciousness now. Don't. When we started our project, we used to have a lot of children hawking at, during school hours. And by the time I call their guidance, I will send for their guidance and I tell them, do you know this thing you are doing is punishable under the law? And they start telling me how. Is it the government that gave them their children? Blah, blah, blah. Then I bring out this book. I will interpret in Yoruba, in their indigenous language. Then I bring out, then I play videos of, you know, parents, guardians, perpetrators who have been prosecuted by the law. Then they start asking, okay, so what can we do? Is the economic situation, and that's why it said no matter what, it is not an excuse to violate the rights of any child. And I can tell you now, I'm not exaggerating. Now, throughout this year, I have not seen a child hawked in front of our school. I am very, very, very sincere. Maybe they are taking on another route because I have challenged a lot. I will trace them to their house and I want to see your mother. This thing you have done, do you know it is punishable? And I hope you will not go and hawk. You as an adult, you will not go and hawk inside the prison. So by the time they start arguing, I bring in the community leaders who are learned. Some of them are learned and they just came to the community to just settle, to live the rest of their lives, And they began to speak to them so that these are the things we have been telling you about. Now, suppose someone has come to settle in this community and has opened your eyes to these wrongdoings. Now everyone is sitting tight. At least we have a low rate of it now. You understand?
That's it.
So, and then we made them understand that you believe Ogun State government is not doing anything, but when the government lay hold of you perpetrating this act, you will pay for it.
Yeah.
It is
And ignorance is not an excuse under the law.
so another fantastic success we recorded last year was after the Ogun State government, office the Director of Women Affairs and Social Development discovered our project. They sent in their team, that is the Ogun State, the governor's wife. The governor's wife connected with me in a program in Lagos, and then she sent her team under the office of the Director of Women Affairs, and they came to educate the community women and our beneficiary parents. At least they did that for us. They educated them about sexual violence, domestic violence, and the negative effects, and the law, the consequences under the law. So the fear that Toby brought government, Toby reported us. I told them I did not report you. The government just felt the need to come and educate the community members. So it was a plus. It was a success we recorded last year. So that fear that government is aware of what is going on here, so be careful. So that you know restricted some things that were ongoing.
Amazing. Toby, you deserve a round of applause. Kudos on your efforts. And I can see the collaboration between your initiative, that is the School on the Streets initiative, and with that of government, parents, teachers, guardians. You have been able to identify all stakeholders, involved in protecting and safeguarding the rights of children, and you made sure that no one is left behind in understanding their roles, because when they understand their roles, they understand that every child is their child, and that when you see something, you say something, you speak up for children, and create a very safe space and enabling environment for them to be able to thrive. Thank you so much. For those that just joined us, um, this is the Vantage Point Instagram live series, and we've been discussing on overcoming sexual violence and safeguarding the rights of children. My guest here, who is Oluwatobi Raji, is an expert because of she has over 10 years experience in the advocacy field. And of course, from our own personal life experience, she's able to also shed more light on how everybody can play a role in safeguarding the rights of children. Thank you so much, Toby, for all that you've shared. Please, can you share your final remarks, recommending the take-home actions for everybody that have joined this call, and even those that will join, that would listen later or watch later, on how they can safeguard the rights of children, places to report to. You mentioned DSVA earlier on. I know of Cheche Yara Foundation. They released a song recently for children, something similar to what you said that you guys have. I think it's fantastic. You can tell us more and how people can reach out to them. You understand? And there will be an anonymity, because that's one thing people fear, that they'll mention my name and I do not want to be a suspect or a victim. Please share with us.
Okay, so for instance, those are listening to us or watching us who live around Ogun State. We have Child Protection Network in Ogun State.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a Child Protection Network, a unit that covers Ogun State, Lagos State, and Nigeria as a whole. And then we have the Ogun State. Now Ogun State now has they have a child protection unit. I mean, just like DSVA, it is
Oh,
situated
okay.
at Kamo. Yes, yes. So the same
Okay.
thing to do in Lagos State is being replicated in Ogun State as well. So it is um, they have their office in Shagam. That's the domestic and sexual violence
Okay.
office in
Okay.
Shagam, Ogun State. Yes, they have their unit office in Shagam, Ogun State. And then we have the Directorate of the Women Affairs and Child Social Development Department. So Child Welfare, Social Welfare Department in Ogun State. That's okay, Moson, Abeokuta, you know. So and they are easy to access and they are always ready to listen. Even yesterday, I referred someone. I spoke with someone in Lagos, who needed a support here. So within 2 minutes, she got a letter. Yes, she lives in this community. Despite being in Ogun State, she called Lagos State. Within 2 minutes, they connected her because the abuser lives in Lagos. That's her husband, domestic violence. You know, so they connected her immediately, and I also referred her to the social development office, the welfare development office in Ogun State, Abeokuta. So we have a lot of people. We have Stop the Abuse Foundation for Women and Children. We have uh, we have a lot of them, a lot of people doing one thing or the
Mirabel.
other. We have the resilience group, you know, and they don't just work in one state. They don't work in one state. They work all round. So if there is a case in Abuja, there is a connect. Like today now, like we are talking about um, resources and support system. I have gotten calls severally while here in Ogun State that somebody needed support in Abuja. And all I did was just to connect within my network. Okay, speak to this person. You understand? So we have a lot of advocates out there, individual groups, subgroups, doing one thing or the other. And we have the sexual violence watch. So, and the thing is, once we realize that this fight is our fight, it is easier to attain victory. But once you begin to feel that child that is being abused is not my child, so whatever happens is not my business. Remember that abused child can grow up and abuse your own child if not protected. You know. So creating safe space for every child is everybody's business. That has been my slogan for over 10 years. I've been, advocating for the rights of children. Creating safe space for every child is everybody's business. Either your biological child, adopted child, the child you met on the street or in church or whatever. Every child is your child. And every child has the right to love, to be loved, to grow well, have access to equal opportunities out there. So every child is your child. Yoruba adage will say, "Ọmọ tá ò kọ́ ló ń gbélé takọ́tà," meaning a child that do not have a proper grooming, proper upbringing, proper training will end up, you know, bringing stain, selling off the house you built. That is where I can, converse it in English. And it's so unfortunate now that a lot of people believe that whatever happened now is none of my business. Take away your eyes. Is it your business? Is it your child? Don't talk, oh, keep quiet, oh. It's not your child, oh. They didn't come to your house to come and rape the child, oh. Stay out of it. But tomorrow, that same child that has been abused or molested, damaged, might go about damaging others, other children, growing up into a damaged adult, and we begin to ask, what happened now? Why? That why should have been managed when we were all aware of what happened, but we all took away our eyes. So it is all our collective efforts. It is all our business to protect every child. When you see something, you say something. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That's a very good closing. When you see something, you say something. Don't act like it's not your business, because eventually it turns out to be everybody's business. Thank you so much, Toby. It's been so great listening to you. I mean, I wish we could do this for more than an hour, really. I think it's already after 4 p.m., but I would have loved to, keep listening to you, keep having this very enlightening discussion. Maybe if our audience here, let me know. We can invite you for another episode, because it will be so great to listen to you tell us more on what we can do. Thank you so much, Oluwatobi, for joining us, and thank you to our audience for joining us. I see every one of you. I appreciate you, and see you next episode of Vantage Point Instagram Live series. All right,
Thank
thank you, and bye. Bye.
you.
Thank you.